all the guts in the refrigerator was removed. There was holes in the wall that was there. The house was not clean. It was very untidy.
This is like a hole in the floor.
He did all that. That hole in that floor, he did that.
Someone is not telling the truth.
You didn't give me the title of the car.
I did.
You did not, because we wouldn't be here if you gave me the title.
I gave you the title.
You never gave it to me.
Plaintiff Lara Sanders discovered her rental property busted up and broken down, and she blames the defendants. She's suing for $5,000 in repair costs. Defendants Denise Buford and Don Avery say the house was a wreck when they moved in, and that they're not responsible for the damage. So they don't owe a dime.
Case number 43 on the docket, Sanders versus Buford and Avery.
Let me see what we have here. We have the plaintiff, Ms. Sanders. You are suing the defendants, Ms. Buford and Mr. Avery.
Yes, sir.
In the amount of $5,000 for damage to your rental property. What happened here?
Well, actually, Mr. Avery and Ms. Buford, they occupy one of my investment properties that's on Section 8.
Yes.
And annually, Section 8 does an annual inspection.
Yep.
Which they come in to verify that if the owner are responsible for repairs, the owner would have the opportunity to do so.
Sure.
And the same with the tenants. So starting in the month of December, we were both notified.
How many years were they there?
For about 3 years, sir.
3 years, sorry.
The annual inspection came up, and the tenants refused to allow the inspector to inspect. So at that point, I got involved with the caseworker, and she was just keeping me posted with the inspection dates. And so finally, on February 28th, I contacted Denise by phone and text message and just made arrangements to do a walkthrough because I would like for the tenant to be there the day that they leave the unit just to verify that things are in order and get the keys.
They had a security deposit?
Yes, they did have.
And is that, looking at the contract here, that's $800 was the security deposit?
That is correct.
$250 cleaning fees?
That is correct.
And $250 for a pet? You had a pet there?
We didn't even have a pet there. Every time they came over there, they said that they saw a pet on the porch. There was never a pet in our house. Yes, we fed the cats outside, so they stayed around our house,
okay,
but they were never in our home.
So when we got possession, there were several violations. The violations that the house had been altered in Section 10 of the lease. They altered the property with their own painting. There was still personal belongings in the house.
Yes.
There was mattresses. There was the doors were off the hinges. The doors were broken. There was still food in the refrigerator. There was still furniture and all kind of debris in the backyard that needed to be done. There was holes in the wall that was there. The house was not clean. It was very untidy.
How many people lived in the place?
There's 4 children and 2 adults. So there's 6.
Okay. All right. Now I'll hear from you.
Okay. She said we altered the paint.
I have proof here of her giving us permission to do my boy's room. She gave us permission.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
And 2...
I mean, we only spoke in email, so...
Okay.
And 2, I can admit, yeah, there was holes in the wall, because yes, Your Honor, I have issues. I pushed holes in the wall.
You can customize your boy's room. I am fine with the color. All right. Okay, go ahead.
Holes in the walls. Yes, there was holes in the walls.
Okay.
I can admit to that. I can own up to that. Yes, because I had issues. I punched holes in the walls.
But
yes.
everything else that she's saying, the neighborhood itself is horrible. There's a lot of homeless people. There's a lot of people who do drugs. There's all types of stuff. So those empty homes that are in that neighborhood, they squat in them. They go in them. They smoke drugs. They do whatever they need to do in those homes. I have proof of this one. Like there's a house that she owns next door to us, and she was asking us to watch the house for her because somebody busted out the window.
When was the last day you were physically in that property?
On the 1st of March.
So you left on the 1st of March?
Yes, sir.
When did you see what you're now describing to me? When was that day?
That was on the 1st of March, but I actually did not take possession the 1st of March. Mr. Sanders, my business partner, was the one that actually...
Mr. Sanders, if you'll come up here for a moment. Okay, because the timeline could be important here. You left the morning of the 1st?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm not arguing yet. I just want to get what you're saying. You're saying you left the morning of the 1st. You looked at the property when?
On the first, sir.
When on the first?
What happened was, Your Honor, that they were there. The house was busy and everything. By that time I got down there, it was about 8:30, 9 o'clock. I just left it alone, and
Sure.
I said I'd deal with it the next morning.
Okay.
Then that's when
When
I
you
came
came
in.
the next morning, they were already gone.
Yes, sir, they were gone.
I
So
seen.
we was at the house. He was at the house.
I was
that
at the
day.
house. I seen Mr. Sanders when I went to go pick up my mail. I seen Mr. Sanders. Mr. Sanders did not once acknowledge that the house was trash. Did not once invite me. Did not say anything about the house. Didn't even acknowledge me. Didn't even give me one look. Didn't say anything.
What relevance does, I'm not saying that was polite, I'm saying, what's the issue with him not
if
talking?
he's saying that we did all of this to your home, why wouldn't you come forward and say something to me? Like you're saying that I did this to your house,
Okay.
so why wouldn't you say
Do we have
something?
any evidence what this place looks like?
Yes, sir.
Can I see that? Okay, that is, I assume, the kids' room where you painted on the wall.
Yeah.
The names of the kids, okay. Okay. What is that?
That's the bathroom, but all that was not like that when we left that house.
Okay. The holes in the wall you're admitting
Yeah, I
to?
did. I admit to the holes in the wall.
Okay, well, what is that brown
I
stuff?
have no idea what that is. And then if we were gone
Okay.
on the 1st, why would you wait until the 18th to file a claim?
Okay.
Like, why not do it that day when you walked in there and seen all that? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
All right. All right. This is like a hole in the floor. You have no explanation for why there's
No, how could we
While
do
you
that?
were living there, the hole wasn't in the
No,
floor.
sir, it was not.
If it wasn't in the floor that morning, because you left early in the morning, you came to see it in the morning, when did that hole get there? You're saying, under oath, that you didn't make that hole in the
No,
floor.
sir.
And you saw the hole that morning.
Yes, sir. These are these pictures of that morning when we entered the property. So these pictures were taken
And
that
again,
day that
if
Mr.
those
Hayes-
holes
one of
were in
you-
the floor.
Someone is not telling the truth
And
here.
again, if those holes were in the floor, why didn't you say something to him? He was there at the house that day picking up the children.
Okay, it is reasonable to say, if you walk in and take a look at this,
Yes, sir.
and the guy's standing over there, you say, what is that?
Exactly.
Well, I've been doing this 28 years, Your Honor, and confrontation on a move-out is not relevant, and that's something that I don't give
But
because
he didn't
they
mind all the
come-
other confrontation that he had with us, though.
As you can see, there.
Exactly.
All right,
You didn't mind that confrontation.
okay.
I called the police officer that particular day and tried to do a vandalism report, that I could not file a report because I had a lease with the tenants. Therefore,
Actually, we didn't have a lease.
Okay.
but they did tell me that if I just want it, they could document the record.
How much does it cost to fix the hole?
$650 on the scene for the restoration with the people putting it back in.
If I could see the receipts for those, then I'll be able to come up with some kind of money that may be involved here. Okay. What is this replacing the refrigerator and the stove?
On the stove, sir, there was 2 knobs that had been pulled out, and the stove could not be repaired. The refrigerator, all the guts in the refrigerator was removed.
'Cause he
There was
did
no
that.
shelving or
You what?
any.
He did all that. That everything that hole in that floor, he did that.
Here's what we're going to do. There's $1,050 to their credit. That's what we're dealing with so far. So whatever the damage is, which I'm going to allow, the first $1,050 come out of the security deposit and the cleaning fees they already paid money for.
Yes, sir.
Okay? So that's the first $1,050. I'm going to add $600 to the $1,050, so I fine for the plaintiffs in the amount of $600.
Well, basically, I'm satisfied that we were able to regroup some of the repairs.
I honestly think it was him. That's the whole reason why we were brought here today, is because it was all about money to them.
Plaintiff Joseph Dayon is suing the defendant for $5,000 for selling him a car he can't legally drive. Defendant, Song Lin, says he held up his end of the deal and is countersuing for $5,000 for lost wages.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth? The whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
This is case number 201 on the docket, Dayon versus Lynn.
All right, this is what we have. We have the plaintiff, Mr. Dayon.
Yes, sir.
You are suing the defendant, Mr. Lynn,
Yes, sir.
for $5,000 for what you say is a fraudulent sale of a car repairs, tow yard costs, and the price of a new car. And you are countersuing for $5,000 for lost wages.
Right.
All right, let's hear your side of the story first.
He sold me a car that I couldn't even drive.
You can always bring the car back. Drive the car back.
No,
to me.
you said
All right.
bring the car back or you're gonna report it stolen. He wouldn't give me the paperwork. So here's what happened.
Yes.
I saw the car on Craigslist. This is actually the car right here. It's a 2001 BMW 325i. Great car. I love German cars, of course. So
Yeah.
I thought it was a steal at $2,000.
Yes.
So I texted him saying I had $1,600 because who doesn't talk anybody down from a deal? Came down with my cousin. He's a mechanic certified. He tested the car. Everything was great. So we go back in his office and he ups the price on me to the original $2,000, which I'm like, I don't understand because you told me $1,700. Now you're telling me $2,000. And so I'm like, I'll pay the $2,000, but I don't have it on me right now. So what can we do? He's like, well, I have to smog the car first. And then once I
You may
smog,
get a smog license because you're in California?
yes.
Got it.
So he's like, once I smog the car, you can come back and get it if it passes. So I'm like, I don't want him to sell it to the next guy or who makes a better offer.
Right.
So we make a contract. He has a handwritten contract. I put down $500, and he said after he smogs the car, I can come back and pay the $1,500 for the car.
Got it.
I come back, and he's like, okay, I give him the $1,500, which is our contract agreement.
Yes.
To give him the $1,500, and he says, oh, there's some miscellaneous fees that you have to pay. I'm like, what fees do I have to pay? You told me originally that $2,000 was the deal. That's what the Craigslist ad said, as is. So now he's telling me I have to go to this guy. He gives me his address and his phone number. I call the guy, and he's like, oh, you have to pay miscellaneous fees.
What is this guy, another dealership?
Something like that. He's something like a dealer. Long story short, he says, okay, the fee is gonna be close to $800.
Paid sales tax.
And I'm like, I don't understand why I'm paying that because if that was the fee in the first place, you would have had to tell me, like, you could have told me, okay, it's gonna be $2,800. You're gonna pay me $2,000, you're gonna pay this guy $800. Not after I come back with the $1,500, that is our agreement, and then come back and say.
That's not true.
So now I'm trying to figure
You
out.
can still return it. You can drive it
go
back.
ahead.
I'm driving back because I'm like, I'm not paying this because it was an as-is agreement, period. I'm not gonna pay an extra $800 that I don't have access to. So within 3 weeks, the car broke down on me. I had to fix it. I ate that cost. And then about maybe 2 weeks later, the car breaks down again. So I'm not only driving like a car that's broken down on me twice within a month, but I'm also driving on
just
expired
said
tags
as is. Go
ahead.
because you didn't give me the paperwork that I needed. So I couldn't register it at the DMV. I couldn't drive it anywhere. And so when it broke down on the freeway in the middle of rush hour traffic, I had to have it towed. I towed it to a body shop. They told me to fix the two parts that were gonna be fixed, which was the front differential and the CV axle. It was gonna be $1,600, including the labor.
Where's the
now
receipt?
I paid
Quiet.
$2,000 for the vehicle. I had to go back and pay $1,600 for the fix. It's worth more than the car is. But since I bought the car, it's such a great deal, I was gonna try to figure it out. So I had towed to my cousin's house. I ordered a part from New York. The part was $300. I also ordered a CV axle. I paid for that too. My cousin installed it, and he was gonna drive the car around the neighborhood just to get it, make sure that it was all fixed. And then I go over because the last part of it is I have to bring in lube for the CV axle to work. So I bring that to his house. I don't see the car.
What happened to the car?
The car got towed.
It got towed. Why did it get towed?
Because of the expired tags, because I couldn't register the vehicle because he didn't give me all the paperwork.
Okay,
I
now
needed.
let me hear your side of the story.
Your Honor, I don't think I owe Joseph anything.
Okay.
Starts March 15th.
Yeah.
He responded to my Craigslist
Yes.
posting. And on the 15th, like he said, he came by, saw the car, test drove it, paid for the price of the car. On the 18th, he stopped by it again, that by the time I passed the California smog on it.
Yes.
And then I go ahead and give him the smog certificate and also the title of the car.
You didn't give me the title of the car.
I did.
You did not.
I'm a licensed broker.
Because we wouldn't be here if you gave me the title.
I gave you the title.
You
Yes.
never gave it to me.
So here's a sample of the agreement.
Wow.
The retail contract. If Joseph didn't get lost, actually got to the dealership, signed
didn't get
everything,
lost.
paid sales tax. And here is the breakdown. He told me he never got a breakdown for whatever the fee is. Here's the breakdown.
That's not what I said.
What you're saying is he purchased the car, but to get the title and registration, he had to go to this other dealership.
Right, to transfer the car under his name. It's a protection for both seller and
Right.
buyer.
So the title that you say you gave him wasn't in his name, of course, but he had to take
He
that,
has to take the smog and the title to the dealership.
and the dealership would take care of
The transaction.
the transaction,
Transfer.
getting it transferred, and the title, so therefore he doesn't have to go to the DMV.
Yes.
But that has a fee.
Well, in California, you buy anything. I don't know what's the last time Joseph went to Fry's or Best Buy. Last time I checked in, bought a TV, I had to pay sales tax.
Then why
Okay.
didn't you tell me that in the first place? You never told me that in the first place.
Yes. So think about it this way. He took off with the car, with the title, but don't want to get transferred. Of course, the car is still under my business's name.
The reason you didn't go to the dealership is because suddenly they were saying this is going to be an extra $800 or
Right.
whatever,
Right.
and you stayed away from that. But then you understand by not going there, you didn't get the title transferred to your name, and that's why it was towed.
And Your Honor, here's text messages between me and Joseph. I clearly offered him, bring the car back today, I will give you full refund.
Let's see it.
You didn't tell me anything because I asked.
Bring it back.
I asked if there was any fees.
He might
I asked-
not, and I would tell him.
Right.
So I understand that you're upset that it's an extra $800, but if you buy a car, there's the price you pay for the car and then all these extra fees. I mean, normally when you go to a dealership and you buy a car, you negotiate what the price is, and then they bring you into that room where you fill out all the paperwork, and you suddenly realize, oh my God,
But he said-
there's this fee, there's that fee, and you do walk out paying more than the actual price of the car is. What I don't yet understand is, knowing that, why wasn't that a signal to say, hey, I'm not paying another $800, it's almost a 50% increase on what I was willing to pay for the car, and returning it? He does say to you, in fairness, bring the car back today, I will give you a full refund. So you would have been out nothing, if you would have done that. And if it was too much, which I understand, I would have given the car back. Therefore, I have to dismiss that claim. On your counterclaim,
Yes, sir.
that you lost hours dealing with him, you're in the business. That's what you got to do. I'm dismissing that claim as well.
I'm pissed. I'm really pissed right now. And I suggest that anybody that knows him doesn't do business with him either, because he is a shady businessman, and if he's done that to me, he's done it to somebody else too, and he'll probably do it again.
I hope Joseph learned his license. You know, live in California, there's state sales tax.
Thanks for watching. Now please approach the bench. The way I look at it, you have two options here. Option A, watch more Judge Jerry. Option B, watch more Jerry Springer. The choice is yours. Now get out of my courtroom. You have more clips to watch. And don't forget to subscribe.